first game here. Sorry, I'm pulling a little bit of a blank here. Sunbeam Dream Team. Sorry, now I'm pulling a blank. But no, we are going to be getting into our second game here right away. So I'm going to be just looking at the bracket here real quick. But today I am joined by another caster, new to our cast. You feel free to introduce yourself, please.
Hey guys, welcome to just happy to be here. I'm Fozzie the Bear. I'll be co-casting with Slouch today.
Alright, so right away we see Twitch, Ari, and Jarvan IV being banned with a response from Nasus and Malphite. So what do you think about these bans so far? Do you think there's any direction in them? Maybe they're targeted?
I think that the Twitch ban might have been targeted after that last game that we just saw. It was just complete on the armor shred. I just think Twitch is very one of the doesn't even have to be a directed ban, but just a very strong, very hard to deal with AD carry at the moment.
Absolutely. Ari also, I believe, is a bit of a targeted ban. Vayne was left open. Very popular AD carry these days. Linksec instantly locking that in. More than happy to take that away from Nomad Gaming. So we actually see Leona being hovered over by Ponzer here. Pretty good, sorry. Yeah, a little bit of a brain fart. Pretty good support against the Vayne. If she managed to catch Vayne out of position, then it can be pretty devastating. Zed also being hovered over. Another good pick to go into with a Vayne. In terms of the sense that if he can actually jump into her, use the Death Mark and assassinate her, she's no longer a threat. But still hovering over. Looks like they're switching between champions, still figuring things out.
Yeah, Vayne has one of those very hard lane phases where Leona has one of the best lane phases you can get if you're versing one of those more squishier champs. But going for Zac as they're hovering over that's a more, let's get that champion, let's get that top tier jungler, and we'll deal with Vayne as, let's see who they pick and then we'll deal with Vayne like that kind of thing. Just rather get those top priority picks instead of let's just counter pick right away, which is good.
Absolutely, Zac, very strong very strong champion right now. We have been seeing him in some interesting roles in this tournament. We have previously seen a mid lane Zac, and that actually worked out extremely successfully. Top lane Zac seems to be the more popular item within the Amateur Open, but we won't know yet. We might end up seeing a jungle. We're not too sure yet. Lee Sin being hovered over for Disparity. Now this is really interesting. I haven't been seeing a whole lot of Lee Sins in this tournament, and I'm kind of interested. Disparity is the top laner. Sorry, now I'm having another brain fart. This is the top laner for Sunbeam Dream Team. So it would be kind of awesome to see a top lane Lee Sin, and Ryze being locked in instantly on Decknum as their mid laner. So also a really strong pick there.
Yeah, it's a very interesting pick because they don't even know if the Zac is jungle or top lane yet. And if it is a top lane Lee Sin, that's awesome. But as you said, it's not a popular pick. It's not even a popular pick in the North American scene right now. It's not even picked there. So it's more, I think it's going to be one of those preferable picks where where their jungler or their top laners playing it because they feel comfortable kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't seen, I don't know, the top lane Zac has been doing extremely well. He was able to get a lot of farm and just become this huge beefy tank a lot sooner than he can be in the jungler. So very strong. Draven and Leona being locked in for Nomad. That is a scary, scary, scary lane.
It's kill lane. That's what they're going for. That's what they want. They catch Vayne once where that Janna pick they're hovering over. That's more of a farm lane. But I think if they can pull it off with the Draven and Leona, they're just going to completely shut down that Vayne, and that's just going to try. They want to snowball from there, which is it's high reward, high risk kind of play they're doing with that kill lane down bottom.
Absolutely. Shen being locked in, so I do believe it's actually going to end up being a jungle Lee Sin. But again, you never know. Jungle Shen not the strongest in the current season, but anything can happen. Decknum is known to do some weird things with his team. Doctore hovering over, locked in now with the Janna. So Janna being an extremely popular support. Pretty good pick into the Leona. If she can time her tornadoes properly, she can actually interrupt Zenith Blade during its cast time, stop Leona from closing the distance into Vayne, and actually just kind of disengaging a fight once she hits 6, using that Monsoon to do the exact same thing. So very strong pick. Also pretty decent counter into the Zac. If Zac can use that Elastic Swing shot into the Let's Bounce, push him away from that, force off the disengage, and we see Twisted Fate being locked in for Norm.
Yeah, no, the Twisted Fate pick is really great. It's going to counter that Shen roam. It's going to counter all that global presence that Shen's going to bring. They're going to turn those 3v2s into 3v3s instantly. And both teams also have a very similar lineup. They both have 2 hard engages with the Zac Leona, and then the other team has the Shen Lee Sin. They got the back lines, and then they have the mid lines with the Ryze and the Zed. So they're not too different with these teams they have.
Yeah, absolutely. Really similar team compositions. In terms of late game scaling, though, it's going to have to definitely go to Sunbeam. We do have the Vayne, can pump out that percent max health damage. Plus the Ryze, who just becomes an absolute monster just the later the game goes on, scaling most of his damage off of his total mana. So, going to be really, really huge. Something I do want to point out here is that Sunbeam Dream Team is actually... Oh, okay, it looks like there was a little bit of an error there, but yeah, it looks like they were both running teleport there. Looks like we're going to have an issue. Okay, the trade system wasn't working there, so we're going to be doing the exact same picks. Nothing's going to change. We're just going to be super fast into that. Just a little bit of an issue. Yeah, they were having trouble swapping their champions. It wasn't allowing them to swap, so we're going to be getting back into that really soon. Going to just be doing the same picks. Probably just going to do some silly bans just to get it over with, so... We will be getting back into that just a moment as soon as Squishy comes back into the game.
Were they going to try to go for that double teleport? Because Ryze is one of those champions where you see teleport ran on a lot. And Shen could also use it just to get back in lane so he doesn't lose out on any farm. So
yeah,
it could be an interesting thing to
Shen really able to pump out that global pressure, especially once he hits 6. And if he's deciding to run teleport on top of that, ridiculous amounts of global pressure. You can teleport into a lane, get that taunt off right away, and be just absolutely devastating. And then once he gets stand united, he can turn any situation into his favor for his team.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be very, whoever uses their globals and never uses the map presence the best, that's who's gonna really take the lead in this game and try to take the win.
Absolutely. Going to be finishing off into this game here, just getting the banning phase over with quickly because we already know what everybody's going to pick. So just going to quickly get through all of this. Don't have to do any crazy swapping anymore. So everybody locking in their champions. We'll be getting started in just a moment, guys. So in terms of level 1 fights, though, who would you kind of give this in favor to? Do you think we're going to be seeing any crazy level 1 invades?
I think that purple team, who is, I forgot their name slipped my mind. Nomad. It's Nomad versus... Okay, so I think Nomad has they have the Leona, they have the Draven, and even though Draven got nerfed, he still has that bonus damage from his Q. They never touched that. Still like very hard to deal with in lane. And they have a lot more CC that they can bring out. They have this TF stun, Leona's stun. They have the Draven, who's unmatched in attack damage, and then they just have Zac, who could go E for a knockup. And I just think compared to Sun, Sun's probably gonna get invaded if anything, and Nomad might take first blood with the stronger comp.
Yeah, we'll see if they decide to play this aggressively. This is the final game in the lower bracket, so the winner of this does move to the finals of the winners bracket. So we could be seeing a lot of safety coming out here just to make sure they can secure their spot into the finals here. And yeah, so we'll be seeing what these teams decide to run with that.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. From looking at the comps, they're both very strong. None of them are using any wacky champions kind of thing. A lot of them just real strong, real hard lane. Gonna be very good fights out of both teams.
Something I do want to point out, Doctore did decide to run Ignite. Now, Ignite on supports isn't that unusual nowadays. It does kind of give a lot more kill potential. But in terms of the lane that they're facing, this might be really scary. Draven Leona could probably out-damage Janna Vayne for probably a good majority of the game until later into the team fighting phase.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about this Ignite choice. We have seen Black Death running Vayne very successfully in the past. He is a very strong Vayne player. But in terms of just this matchup, it's really easy for Draven to just out-trade Vayne. The Janna shield isn't really that much into the early levels. One Draven axe can take down the shield and still stick some damage on top of that, even without the bleed damage.
From the last game we saw where the Corki ran Ignite, it's one of those kind of risky things to do because the exhaust is always the safest summoner spell for a support to pick. It's just shuts down the 80 carry for that couple of seconds kind of thing. But if they can pull it off, and if they can get that ignite to actually kill the support, or they can kill the Draven, and it actually pays off for them, then it's going to be really worth it. If not, then it's just going to keep snowballing in the Draven's and Leona's favor.
Yeah, very snowbally bot lane. If Leona can get that aggression down, land all those CC spells onto the Vayne, and then using the Draven Axis to combo in with the Sunlight passive, it's going to hurt, and that damage will stick. And it's going to be really hard. It's sort of like this is a really tricky lane for a Vayne to be in. Really tricky circumstance. She can't really kind of push out. She won't win level 1 fights. She won't win most early levels fights unless Draven gets caught out into an extremely bad position. So it's really going to be kind of based around how safe Black can play this until he knows he has an advantage in his lane.
Absolutely. I think the Sun's just kind of banking off, let's get through early, let's go towards mid, let's do a smooth transition, and then we'll just start taking the game after we start getting our farm, after Ryze starts becoming that late game beast, after Vayne starts becoming that late game beast. They're just got to try. That's why I think the Janna pick was such a safe pick, where like, hey, we need just to protect Vayne. Let's just save her, get that over with. Make sure none of the purple team snowballs.
Absolutely, and that is something I did miss that you just pointed out, is that Sunbeam Dream Team has got this really kind of more oriented protect the Vayne composition. Shen isn't really a huge damage threat, more of a really frontline tanky CC guy. Later into the game, Lee Sin falls off very, very hard. He is able to kind of pick off backline people if he has the ability to, but most often that's extremely difficult, so that's not always possible. So he does kind of end up becoming a peeler for his AD carry, especially with that Dragon Kick. Janna is there, and Declan's going to be hanging out probably right beside the Vayne as often as he can, using that snare and just bursting down anybody that comes in her face. So really, we're kind of seeing a comp that's really focused around this Vayne and keeping her alive throughout team fights.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other side, it's like super snowball. We got all of these picks that are really just designed to win lane and just kind of just snowball the game in their favor. We got the Leona and we got the Draven, probably the most notorious snowbally bot lane to ever exist ever.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of I love the Korean scene. And I'm not sure if this is kind of what the other team's going for, but the Lee Sin Shen combo, where Lee Sin will jump in for a hard engage and Shen will ult to Lee Sin, and it's just turns into this great initiation. And they also have that going for them if they happen to start, like, if they hit that mid game where Vayne doesn't need that peel anymore, where she can just self peel, they can also transition, but that all depends on, hey, is Draven snowballing, is TF snowballing, like everyone on everyone on Nomad can just start snowballing like crazy. So it's just early game is going to pretty much decide a lot of this game, I think.
Absolutely, yeah. If Nomad Gaming can win their early game out, and then Nomad is pretty well known for being able to close out games fairly well. They can push in hard, and they can apply a lot of pressure, especially with the Twisted Fate now. They got a lot of global pressure in terms of Destiny. And Twisted Fate, during his mid game, once he first learns Destiny, is able to apply so much pressure to other lanes at a moment's notice, can turn any situation into his favor with being able to Destiny into a lane, gold card, doing a lot of burst damage. He will be able to help other people win their lane for him if he is able to pull off some successful ganks. Zach, one of those junglers that can just jump out at you from practically out of nowhere. Elastic Slingshot's range from max level is huge. It's so far, it's absolutely incredible. And then same thing with Zed. Zed's probably going to be building a lot of mobility in terms of maybe boots of mobility. Going to be able to roam around the map a lot and help out his team. I think he's probably going to be top, so we might see him kind of stuck up there for a while. But whereas it looks like some BG teams trying to countering this with a double teleport. So they do have that double teleport. They can kind of apply pressure to a lot of different places. So again, a lot of early game is going to come down to how this game's going to go.
Yeah, and for some of you who are wondering like how far Zach's slingshot at max level is, if you look at blue side's double golems, you can jump from double golems to Dragon Pit with a max rank slingshot. That engage is crazy if they can pull that off. So Nomad has an amazing initiate if they can just do everything right. If they can get that Zac in there to disrupt everyone, they have the stuns, they have the damage. It's going to be a deciding factor in team fights, just the entire game. That's not even a snowball factor, just the entire game if Zac can get those. As well as when it comes to Shen and TF, 2 people with globals, it's whoever's going to back first at 6. It's whoever's going to have that most items kind of thing. If TF is doing better than Shen, TF's going down the bottom and doing that 3v3 is just going to be a lot more valuable to them.
Something I do want to point out here is that Ponzer on Leona has actually opted to start Adorned Shield, and I believe only has enough money for a single ward after that, comboed in with the Explorer ward that she has. So what this kind of tells me that I think they're looking for kind of like a level 2 cheese thing here. They're going to try and pressure that level 2 faster than Black Death can, and then force a level 2 fight, burn some summoners, or at least get an early level kill. That's kind of what that Dorn Shield is telling me here.
Yeah, I think they're banking off like, hey, we're stronger level 1. We don't need to invade. We know they won't invade us because we'll just kill them if they do that. So I think they realize, let's just go for the stronger bot lane. Let's get the snowball, and then everyone can just ward with their bodies, kind of thing. Like they know they have the advantage level 1 and they're taking it.
Yeah, absolutely. They are applying a lot of pressure here. Secret Take already trying to push out that lane, trying to get that early level farm. Black Death playing extremely safe now. Really using that tumble defensively, just trying to make sure that he doesn't get caught out. Panzer Tank sitting over in that bush. And Secret Take almost already level 2, so we should be hitting that pretty soon. Now, Zac actually heading over to his blue, but this decided to go with a red start. So heading over to his blue buff now. Lee Sin mimicking his route by starting blue, actually. So pretty good prediction there from Linksec. Looks like we might be seeing an early gank going down into the bottom lane.
Yeah, this is very interesting because a lot of the times teams will always start at the bottom of the jungle, get that first gank off top, try to decide that lane. But I think both teams understand this bot lane and who needs help and who's actually. It's a lot. This bot lane's really where the win's at for both teams, kind of thing. And
a lot of progression going down here. Secret Dig actually taking a Q right to the face, taking a huge amount of damage. Ignite going down here, but Zac is healed for the counter dig. Linksec getting dropped down extremely low. First blood will go down to the Draven, onto the Lee Sin here, taking a huge amount of damage. Fatasu is now taking a little bit of damage here. Zac now teleported down, trying to do as much damage onto Fatasu as he can. Gets a snare. Fatasu forced to flash away. That was the first blood going down to the Draven. He did fall though, but Lee Sin has lost his red buff because of that.
Dude, it was. If Draven lived, that would have been the lane. He got the kill, he got first blood, so that's 400 gold, but he's going to lose out on some farm to Vayne if she decides to capitalize on that. Where Rise is going to kind of fall behind now. He teleported down, he didn't get an assist, he didn't take any farm, he just wasted his teleport. So now purple team, now Nomads can just look at that and say, hey, we're good for the next 5 minutes here. Rise can't come down, Shen doesn't have 6. We can just go back, let's take that gold, let's win lane.
Absolutely, he did teleport down that bot lane, potentially saving a teammate, but it is costing him quite a bit. He is quite a fair bit behind on farm now. Didn't tax the lane at all, so had to walk all the way back over to his lane. Has managed to buy a tier at least, so did get a little bit of something when he managed to get back, help him get back into the game a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna... TF's kind of relaxing. He knows that one of the summoner spells is down. At level 6, TF's going to have that roam, that Rise pick teleport to go to follow TF around the map. And she's not going to.
Meanwhile, on the bottom lane here, Ponzer Tank actually getting a little bit caught out here. Linksec getting a great gank down onto the bottom lane here, and Ponzer Tank falling down to the gank. So it's another that's falling kill down onto the bottom lane here. So the AD carry and support in the bottom lane have both died once now, so not exactly the ideal position that a Draven Leona lane is looking to be in at this point.
Lee Sin's doing a great job. That's just
yeah, that's exactly what it is.
He's doing a great job. He's making sure, hey, Vayne has 2 assists. That's kills are ideal, but hey, let's just have Vayne. Vayne needs farm, and with that's Leona out of lane, that's what she's gonna get.
Yeah, actually, I just realized Doctore was the one who picked up the kill after Lisa had died, after Draven had died, and the double buff had ended up transferring to her. So Doctore is actually sitting in his lane with a double buff, doing her best to abuse it for as long as she can. It is about to wear out, trying to use that as red buff procs as best as she can. Not doing a whole lot of damage. Meanwhile, on the top lane here, actually, Squishy and Disparity are kind of getting into it. Disparity able to tank a lot of damage with the Faint Shield, plus his regen from his passive and Vorpal Blades. Able to kind of just keep him alive, kind of brushing off a lot of the damage, and Squishy kind of not going up on top of that trade.
He popped his red pot, which is good for Shen. He just popped it though, so it's probably around 2 more minutes. But if he doesn't decide to capitalize on that extra damage and extra health, Shen has a chance on kind of turning the lane his way if he can kill him after that red pot's gone. But Zed red pot's very strong, very scary, and Shen should be towering and scared right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, Shen is managing to keep the lane over by his side. More than happy to just farm up. Knows that he scales very strongly to the late game. Just going to be able to farm up those tanky items. Keep the lane on his side. He's ignoring a huge amount of damage coming out from Squishy. They're able to just kind of just brush a lot of it off and regen anything that he does take that's sticking to him. So, yeah, more than happy to keep the lane on his side. Actually taking a lot more aggression down over here. Linksec is on his way up here, using the safeguard. Flash coming down from Squishy, plus the Living Shadow to get away from that gank.
That flash was great. Lee Sin again doing a fantastic job, helping every lane out. He won bottom lane for them, he helped them out a lot, and now he just blew Zed's flash. So now Shen's going to have that safety in mind. He's going to say, there's nothing, Zed can't tower dive me now. He can't really do many crazy things. And just because Lee Sin came in and shot a Q at him. So it was a great play by Sunbeams.
Yeah, Fad actually hanging around the enemy jungle here, putting a lot of aggressive wards down, thinking that Lee Sin might have started at his red buff, but Link actually started at his blue, so that buff won't be up for a little while. Fad just doing a little bit of counter jungling, taking off that Wraith, and going to be heading back over to his own side of the jungle.
Bry's getting that blue buff before Zach's going to help him a little bit back in lane. It's not going to help out too much because that teleported, but he's sort of caught up in CS. When TF goes to grab his blue buff from Zach, when he gets it to him, he'll be able to get caught up. But as you see, Zach is counter jungling Lee Sin right now. Very risky move for a tanky jungler to be counting a Lee Sin.
He does actually manage to pick up that red buff Lee Sin. This decides to do his woes before heading over there, so he will be down a red buff. And now heading back over to his own side of the jungle. Thaddeus probably going to hand over his blue buff over to Norm. Yeah, Norm heading over there to pick up that buff now.
That extra XP is going to help Zach get 6 at his red buff, so that's nice. They're going to have the jungler at 6. Everyone's pretty much already 6 on Sunbeams except for Janna. So they could be looking forward to do a dragon soon. I think that because Sunbeam has an advantage.
Destiny actually being popped. Linksec caught out in the enemy jungle here. Gold card going down. Linksec getting stunned in the jungle here. Deknum is here to try and help out. Stand United has dropped down. Fadasu has come in. Stand United goes down. They go into Norm. Great kick coming down here. Snare going down. Taunt dropping him down. Deknum able to pick up the kill. Ignite was used onto Linksec thinking that he could drop him down, but not quite. Flash going down now. Linksec is in a little bit of trouble. Let's bounce being used. Not able to get the knock up onto Linksec. He is getting slow here though. Using Dragon Kick perfectly to knock up Swishy and Fadasu back away, using that safeguard onto Deknum and managing to get away safely from that engagement.
What an amazing play. This Lee Sin just taking all, dude. He's putting all his cards on the table right now. With all these plays, he countered and he lived. They took a kill. The Shen ult was greatly played, and they decided to turn instead of run away, which was just smart calling from everyone on Sun.
Yeah, Sunbeam really coordinated that fight extremely well. Was able to turn that situation that was looking really grim for just a moment there back into their favor. So really looking good. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane here, Secret actually getting condemned against the wall. Deknum teleporting down here, getting a lot of aggression down here. Now Pouncer is on the run, getting slowed down here, but Fadasu is here to try and help out. Deknum still going aggressive here, getting the snare down onto Pouncer, trying his best to catch up, but everybody's going to walk away from this. Deknum does manage to pick up a kill in that bottom lane, heading back over to mid lane now.
They knew TF ult was down, and the second TF ult is down, Rise is just like, I can't be followed. Let's turn any situation into a 3v2. So very smart move, and now they get a free dragon for it uncontested. So very smart plays all around on Sun.
Yeah, Sunbeam taking up this dragon now. with the enemy bot laners going back to base, they do manage to pick up this dragon for free. So first dragon of the game going down to Sunbeam, sitting about a 1k gold lead right now, just over that. Able to go back now, a little bit stronger into their own lanes. Vayne has now completed a Bilgewater Cutlass, so looking to be getting into that Blade of the Rune King as soon as she can. Whereas Draven right now, pretty close to completing his Bloodthirster. Needs about another, I think about 1,000 gold. I can't remember exactly what the recipe cost is on that. But pretty close to his Bloodthirster. So although this lane isn't quite going in his favor, he is managing to keep up fairly well in farm. So not totally shut out of this lane yet.
Yeah, it's very well, and I would like to point out, because I'm looking at kind of who has the gold, Janna actually has a 500 gold lead on Leona. So a lot of that, so that's a lot of gold for support has. That's around 10 more wards than that they can have. So that map presence that Janna can have because she has so much more gold on Leona, they're getting that early game they wanted. They're getting that protect Vayne.
Sorry, a lot of aggression going down onto the bottom lane here. Lunar Eclipse being dropped down. Baron being forced onto Black Death. A lot of aggression going down. Now the Destiny is being popped. Going behind the turret. Doctor has nowhere to run. Forced to flash into his own jungle. GG Nord flashing, landing a great gold card. And we'll be able to pick that kill up with the wild cards.
Great plays from both. Well, mostly Nomad for actually pulling it off. But they took advantage of the situation that they had.
Oh, I apologize. Sorry, I missed the play up in the top lane here. While everybody went down bottom lane, Lynxsec decided to make a play up at top lane. Does manage to pick up the kill onto Squishy. So while they're taking down the bottom turret, looks like they're going to try and apply as much pressure as they can to this top one.
They might be able to do 1-for-1 trade here up top with the turret. They might, Lee Sin and Shen have great pushing power, especially with the key strike Shen has. I believe that's what his passive's called. Yeah, key strike. And so I think it's just going to be a 1-for-1 tower trade. They got a kill up top, and not too bad. They Nomad just gets 1 kill. So overall, fairly even trade.
Yeah, Nomad actually picking up 2 kills in that bottom lane, 1 on the AD carry and a support with that Destiny proccing down onto there. Now looking like they want to shift their attention over to mid lane. This is kind of the global pressure we were talking about. As soon as their lane was done, now they're looking to pressure everything that they possibly can. Heading over to this mid lane. Nectum can't really defend it. The towers are already down to about 25% health. Now about the 15. Secret is doing a lot of damage to this. The tower's going to fall down now. Another tower going down. Lee Sin hanging around inside your flash coming down for Nectum, landing great snare onto Secret Dick. Lynxsec coming in here, Solar Eclipse dropping down, getting a great stun down. Magisu actually getting taunted now by Disparity. Television passive Oprog. His teammate can't save them, they're too far away. We'll be able to pick up a kill. Nectum on a killing spree on Rise, picking up the kill onto Zach.
Those are the 2 people they didn't want to have to give the kills to. Those are the Vayne and Rise getting kills, and now they're just taking the tower back. Just everything's going in the favor of Sunbeam at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. They're now able to take down this tower. Do manage to pick it up. So towers are now even across the map, 2 for 2. Still a little bit of a gold lead in terms of Sunbeam, just over 1k. So nothing significant just yet. This is still anybody's game. Can't really count anybody out of it just yet.
Yeah, they're kind of roaming around now. Sunbeam's like, okay, we have a little bit of a lead. Let's try to get that. They might go for that bottom tower next. They might just start roaming this 5 and just kind of pushing everything. You know, they're in a stage where they have a little bit of lead, so they just might just start farming up again. Try to get that Vayne fed.
Yeah, Vayne has now completed her Blade of the Rune King and has picked up a fair Berserker Beard. So got a good amount of attacks, but can use those Silver Bolt procs to an advantage. Plus with that Blade of the Rune King, % max health damage on every auto attack. As well as, sorry, is it % max health? I can't remember now, actually.
It's, I believe
current health. 5% current
health.
And then max health when you use the active, 15% max health. So, yeah,
I believe it gets up to 8% at max level. 8%, so it's really, she's maxing it second. So it's going to be really, it's going to hit hard when she gets those 3 more levels.
Yeah, absolutely. Once Silver Bolts gets maxed out, she's going to hurt a lot. Actually going a lot of aggression down onto this bottom lane here. Trying his best to catch up to Secret Dick. Trading blows there. A bit more in favor of Secret Dick, but Black Death does have that red buff. So if they do decide to go for hard engage and manage to dodge a lot of the CC from Ponzer, it'll definitely come out in favor for them. They can definitely pull that off.
She has this attack speed,
Oh,
but
Destiny actually being popped down into the bottom lane here. Black Death getting gold. Sorry, Doctor getting gold card here. Solar Flare missing everybody, but Doctor in a little bit of trouble here. Huge amounts of burst damage coming down from that Sunlight passive and the Spinning Axe, managing to pick up a quick kill onto Doctor into the bottom lane.
Draven's just so strong right now. His Q giving him 173 bonus damage, plus the 200 attack damage he already has. He is hitting harder than Vayne possibly can. And they're just taking advantage of how squishy Janna and how squishy Vayne are. And they're doing a great job at capitalizing on who they can kill and what they can do. And because of that, the gold lead is they're almost matched. They're only 400 gold away.
Yeah, relatively even gold lead here. Anticipate doing a really good job of applying that global pressure. He's actually in a little bit of a tricky spot inside of the enemy jungle here. Gonna have to be careful of what route he decides to take out. Yeah, does manage to walk away safely. Takes the safer route out of the jungle here. Now it looks like everybody's just kind of going back to their farm game. Nobody looking like they want to do anything too crazy just yet.
Secretic on Draven. He has 1,500 gold in his bank. I mean, he can buy some fairly good items. He picks up a pickaxe and a longsword, so even more damage coming out. Almost doing 500 damage with those auto attacks. That's
huge.
That's Vayne's worst nightmare. With someone who only has less than 1,500 health, 3 auto attacks are really just gonna hurt her a lot, especially with a kill lane from Leona.
That was kind of interesting. I don't know if you noticed that. Ponzer actually used Zenith Blade just as Black Death used Condemn. Condemned Ponzer really far back and then launched her all the way back over to Black Death. So kind of a little bit interesting here. A lot of aggression actually going down into the mid lane here. Norm actually getting a little bit of damage going. Stand United dropping down onto Link's here. He was stunned, so wasn't really able to get close though. But Black Death is here to clean up the kill. Now Vadisu is in a little bit of trouble. Looks like getting knocked up by the Let's Bounce passive. Vadisu able to walk away from that. And yeah, 1-for-0 trade, but Dragon did come back up. So now it looks like the Sunbeam Dream Team are going to shift their attention over to that. Zac is hanging out over on the outskirts with Ponzer tank, but no, they do manage to pick it up safely. Doesn't look like they're going to go in for the steal.
That's 2 dragons to Sunbeam, which is around 2,000 gold that they've picked up for free, uncontested, twice now. And if they just keep getting these dragons and Vayne picking up another kill, they're going to transition just fine into that late game that they want.
Yeah, absolutely. Although the game's not going entirely the way they want, they are holding on to a decent gold lead. They have been getting a couple ganks down from the Twisted Fate, doing a really good job on that. But gold lead is in their favor, and they are doing a really good job of keeping Vayne and themselves in this game without falling too behind. Rise is getting also very scary. Completed Rod of Ages now with Sorcerer's Shoes and 450 mana on that tier. So Rise is getting very big right now, able to pump out a lot of damage into team fights as well.
And there's not much of a farm lead on most champions. Zed's beating Shen, but then you have Draven beating Vayne. So coming to farm, there's not much of a gold lead there. The gold leads just come straight from Dragon and 4 kills.
Yeah, and also the tower objectives getting down here too. Two turrets for both teams, but because of the Dragon objectives and the Dragon control and kills on Sunbeam, they are definitely ahead in that gold lead, sitting at about just under 2k gold lead at the moment. So gold lead is starting to get a little bit more spread out. Still nothing too significant yet. No team definitely taking this one for sure at this point.
Yeah, and Rise is sort of, he has the Rod of Ages, he has his tier with several stacks, 476 bonus mana, so that's almost a fully stacked tier. And when he gets that Archangels out, and when he gets that Frozen Heart out, this Draven with no attack speed, he might be hitting hard, but he's not going to be hitting fast.
Very often,
and I think, so that's something to kind of banking off with the Rise pick. The Rise pick was very smart going versus a team like this, especially with the Zed, who actually hasn't done much this game, where Shen has ulted down and he's saved lives and he's turned team fights around.
And so Shen actually sitting on another giant spell, so I do believe that's going to be going into a random. So if the Frozen Heart and the randoms do come out, Draven's going to be shut down pretty hard in team fights. The attack speed reduction is going to be huge. It's going to be really hard for him to be able to pump out those spinning axes in those fights. He has completed his last Whisper now, so in terms of armor, he will be able to penetrate through quite a fair bit of that. But in terms of actually being able to pump out a lot of DPS, it might be troublesome though. Meanwhile, on the top lane though, Black Death actually getting a death mark onto him. Shen Stand United was used though. Flash coming up from Squishy, realizing he's in trouble here. Link flashes pushing in, trying to get as much distance as he can here. Kicking him into the sidewall though. Looks like being able to pick up the kill. Now onto Squishy there. Now they're looking to pressure this top lane.
Playing Lee Sin with a name like Linsec, you can't imagine someone not being fairly good. He's just been doing a great job this entire game. And with that level 3E, Zed, there was nothing Zed could do after blowing Flash and using his Dark Shadows?
That actually look like he wants to go aggressive here. Doctor taking a huge amount of damage. Great solo for landing down onto Dectum, but they don't want to fight this. They realize they won't win the 4v5 and are forced to back away after blowing quite a fair bit of abilities there.
It's very scary, especially when they're pushed up to their inhib tower. If they dive in and lose the fight, that's an inhib gone. So they have to play a lot more safe now. That's the kind of mode they're in. They still have this power. They still have the Draven and TF about to build Lichbane soon. So they might be able to turn on a team fight fairly soon. They just have to play it smart.
Yeah, definitely have to be careful how they play these team fights. Good positioning from... Sorry, excuse me, now I have to sneeze. Sorry, take over for a sec while I sneeze.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of just roaming around. They're farming. TF and Leona, no RM, who did a fantastic job last game on TF, is taking away camps. They're using that map pressure that TF has. They actually don't have a lot of map coverage that Sunbeam has. Sunbeam has Baron warded up a lot. They have Dragon warded, which is all they need, and they're sticking to their jungler. They're playing very smart, even though they have around a 3k gold lead. But as you see here, Nomad Gaming's going in. They're pushing mid. They know they have TF with the Sheen. They know that they'll be able to do tons of damage with it, and it's 4 versus Jan in mid. So it should be an easy tower to take with Vayne and Lee Sin backing over here.
Yeah, they're dropping this tower down extremely quickly. Minions have been cleared away, but it looks like they're just going to take it off. Manage to take down this tower and back away from that before the rest of the team can respond. Shen down into this bottom lane though. Looks like he's going to be able to try to secure down this tower as soon as he can though, but minions are not... No, he does have a minion wave right behind him there, so we'll be able to pick that up relatively soon here. Taking a couple tower shots just to finish off the job and be able to keep on split pushing actually. Stand United will be available very momentarily, so if he decides to keep split pushing, he will safely be able to do that.
With Shen being level 14, which is the highest on both teams up there with their eyes, when he hits level 16, that Stand United's going to be up fairly fast. That means you're going to see a lot more split pushing from Shen than you're going to be seeing from TF. Because that ult, I think it's around below 100 second cooldown around level 16. So that's going to be very good for Sunbeam, and they're going to have even more of that map control.
A lot of aggression going down onto the mid lane here. Flash coming down for Ponzo, landing a great solar flare onto Dectum and Doctor. Stand United being used on Doctor to try and keep him alive. Dectum dropping down extremely low. Destiny being popped here. Dectum will drop down. Disparity in a little bit of trouble here. Black Death trying to rush into the enemy team to help out his teammate. Actually, just Destiny being used onto him here, walking him down underneath the zone turret, trying to run away. Will pick up the kill onto Black Death. Disparity now trying his best to hold down the turret. We'll be able to pick up the kill onto the Leona, but that was a great trade coming down from Nomad Gaming.
That's the fight they needed. They saw Lee Sin top, who's 3 of the kills, who's making most of the plays, who's one of the hard initiators, and he wasn't in the fight, and they took advantage of that with the Zac initiate, which was fantastic. And the TFO caught Vayne out, gave him vision on Vayne when she went invisible. It was the fight they were looking for, the fight they needed, and they took it. And now they get a dragon. That's the reward for the fight.
Absolutely. This is their first dragon of the game, if I'm not mistaken, right for them. Right? Actually, it looks like going aggressive into there, getting knocked up, gold carded, completely chain stun here, trying his best to run away here. Zac's cell division passive was POC, but Draven was able to get a huge shutdown bonus onto that. Now Disparity getting a little bit caught out here, taking a lot of damage. They're trying to get this counter engage back up. Secret actually getting locked down here. Huge amounts of burst damage coming down from Rise. Barrier was propped, but he cannot withstand the Rise. We'll drop him down fairly quickly. Everybody else forced to run away from that.
And I think the reason that Secretic on Draven, the reason he stayed was because he didn't see Vayne. And he was like, hey, we could turn this around. But because they don't have any map coverage on their jungle, they assumed Vayne was going to be there soon. Vayne's going to clean us up. But she was over by Raves. That was a fight they could have turned, but because they don't have that coverage, they didn't know they could turn it. So them lacking wards and them lacking that map pressure is really hurting them.
Absolutely. So gold lead pretty much just under 1k now, only about 900. This game is extremely close, still anybody's game. The hard initiates that can come down from Nomad Gaming are extremely strong, really able to kind of lock down that Vayne. If Vayne isn't able to stay safe in these team fights, it's really devastating for Sunbeam Dream Team, as she's a huge part of their team right now. Deknum, although he is doing a lot of damage, the only real resistance he has now is the Glacial Shroud. It's only 45 armor. The last whips that are coming down from Draven is totally going to negate that. He's not even going to care that it's there. So it's really going to be hurting him as well. He doesn't have any resistances, so he's also going to melt the team fights if he gets caught out.
Draven just, Lee Sin weaving with Rando and Doman, he still shredded through that armor. He was just attack after attack after attack, and even Janna came in and he took 400 HP from me.
Destiny actually popped out here. Deknum getting caught out here into Solar Flare. Gold card going down. Huge amounts of burst damage. Gorm will be able to pick up that kill, and that's another pickoff coming down here. Sunbeam kind of forgetting that there is a TF on the team, that he is able to kind of come in from out of nowhere and pick off your team if you guys aren't split up and ready for, or if you guys aren't together and ready to fight.
That TF pick is one of the things that's keeping them in this game. That counter global that they needed, and was just a great pick. And they're caught up now, and if they take a tower, they're going to be actually ahead for the first time in this game, and that's going to be really good for a team that snowballs.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to get a lot of aggression. A final hour being procced down. You're actually flashing over before the stun can go down. Now Black Death actually getting caught out in the middle of everything. Eventually will pick up the kill. Disparity getting caught out now. Deathmark going down onto Linksack. Trying his best to run away. Uses a ward jump, but the Deathmark will finish it off. Ward jump looks like it was going to be, or sorry, a ward teleport looks like it was going to be used by Deknum, but realizing that if he warded in, he was going to be in the middle of everybody. Had to cancel that, and now forced to be on defense on this tower.
We have a Draven with 300 AD. Oh, team fight. And
a lot of aggression going down here. Taunt going down across. Poets are actually getting taken down really low. Deknum trying to get in there for the kill, but ends up getting punished extremely hard for it. Leona able to lock him up, plus with the damage from Norm, they're able to finish him up. Now they're going to be able to have free reign over this tower and the inhibitor and take it relatively quickly.
They're playing this very smart and the amount of siege that they have from the Draven and from the Lich Bane from Twisted Fate. It's a great for sieging when he has that 5v3, and they were able to even take down Rise because of all that damage that they have. And you're right, the Glacial Shroud, it's not doing that much for them.
Absolutely, and then now with Twisted Fate having that Lich Bane completed, going to be doing huge amounts of damage. There's no magic resist at all coming out from Sunbeam Dream Team right now. They have 0 magic resistance on that team. It looks like a runic bulwark of Aegis is currently being built on Janna. Right now she only has the no magic mantle, so she's the only one with a tiny shred of magic resistance. So not really anything for the team yet. So Twisted Fate, even if they do manage to build enough armor to kind of negate Draven's damage, Twisted Fate is a humongous threat right now.
He's doing 400 damage with the Lich Bane proc alone. That's disregarding that blue card that
a little bit of an engagement going down onto the mid lane here. I thought they were on the same team just farming because nothing was happening. Sorry, meanwhile, over here in the top lane, Deknum getting ganked at the tower, falling down with the combination of Leona CC and
Vayne picking up a Kid Mill off of the Draven. Beautiful play.
Things are going down everywhere. Yeah, Vayne managing to pick up the kill onto Draven, condemning him against the wall, holding him in place. Now, kind of just trading kills here. Gold lead is now 2k in favor for Nomad Gaming, so really this is still anybody's game. But just the pickoffs that are coming out everywhere, just it's kind of making it so nobody can do anything yet. Right? Both teams want the Baron. If they can get the Baron, they can get a strong push off and potentially finish the game. But because people keep getting picked off, no team can do that. They're just kind of stuck being doing whatever they have to do. Looks like actually trying to fight that Ponzer here. Ponzer using all of his cooldowns here, forced to kick him away. Ponzer now actually flashing away. Black Death doing a great job using his tumble auto attacks and his passive to catch back up, finishing off the kill onto Ponzer tank there.
Yeah, a lot of these fights are just starting because the teams see, like, the fight up top, they saw, hey, he's alone, let's kill him. And then TF went up there, and then they saw, hey, TF went up there, let's kill them down here then. And that's kind of just what happened. They just saw that they outnumbered both of them in one area, and then both teams took kills because of that. And it was It was funny to see, in my opinion, because if TF would have stayed mid, then nothing would have happened. They would have just gone back to farming like they were.
Yeah, absolutely. But both teams doing their best to try and just keep themselves in this game. Everybody's trying their best not to get caught out here, pushing out the lanes separately. Super Minions are pushing down the middle lane here. So excuse me, Super Minions are pushing down the middle lane here against Sunbeam Dream Team, but Vayne's percent max health, true damage, doing a really good job of being able to clean that up. Looks like Nomad actually going to be able to pick up their second dragon of the game. That is their second, I believe. I could be wrong.
They're tied in dragons now, so they're a tower ahead. They're actually a kill down, but they still have that gold lead because they have the inhib, and that's the Super Minions are just helping them out, and they're most likely just winning in farms and assists.
Meanwhile, in the bottom lane here, Disparity actually getting into a little bit of trouble here, getting knocked up from the Zac though. Now with the Destiny coming down from Norm, getting gold carded. Ignite will drop down. Vad getting dropped down a little bit low there. Forzu's lets bounce, just kind of keep himself safe, make sure he doesn't drop down. Does get a great pick off on the Shen. That means Stand United is down. They have free reign on the enemy team now. They don't have Sen as the saving grace to save them in case anything goes wrong.
They have, Nomad has Baron control with that inhib down. And if they take this bottom turret, it's most likely going to be an uncontested Baron. And even if they were to contest Baron, you have 2 waves of Super Minions coming into your base. And even if you take the Baron, you still have 2 Super Minions coming in your base. Absolutely. So it's very hard. They have to turtle, and at the same time, they